Resistance can come for us in a lot of different forms. So resistance can be like an obstacle that stops us from taking an action or feeling a certain way or kind of being our own best friend, taking care of ourselves. Self-care. Resistance might block us from ideas or finishing something. Resistance might come as an experience that's very big or kind of small. So today I want to talk about these different forms of resistance for the sake of us understanding our own resistance, because I really believe that clarifying our particular type of resistance and becoming friendly with it, being open to understanding it and healing it, getting to know it is really critical for our own ability to be productive, to be happy, to be creative, and to be empowered and loving. So let's look at the first kind of resistance I want to look at is fear, the resistance of fear. So fear can really be immobilizing, and sometimes resistance just comes as a really succinct type of fear. It could be in the body, like I just can't settle, or like I have a lump in my throat, or my stomach's in knots, and anxiety in the chest area and when we're in this state of fear, we really are unable to take action until we calm the fear, until we comfort the fear, until we acknowledge that fear and take care of it. So I think that many of us have at some time this kind of resistance that is fear. And it probably makes sense. I hope it makes sense to you that fear needs comforting. It needs to be, I immediately did this with my body. It needs to be held and reassured and told that it will be okay. And this is why the practices that work with our breath, with our emotions, with our grounded energy are so critical to healing our own resistance that is fear at the deepest level. Now, another kind of resistance we might feel is the resistance that is like an old friend. Very different than the fear resistance. So resistance that's more like an old friend is a kind of obstacle or limitation that we've had for a really long time. So this could be in the form of a belief. I'll never, and you finish. I can't, and you finish. I'm not good enough to, and you finish. So this kind of resistance that's more like an old friend, we probably all have a list of what those obstacles are or resistance that are more belief like. And it's really good to know them. So take a moment, write down what your old friend resistances are. It's too hard to. I'm giving you kind of the stem statements, the beginning statement that you can finish for yourself. It's too hard to. I'm not good enough to. It's just not possible. And sometimes this old friend resistance has been around for decades. It might be around how healthy we can be, how productive we can be, how informed or action taking or creative. And it may have a very old root. It might feel like an old friend, whether they're a good friend or not is up to you, but an old friend because we've been carrying it for so long. And for many, it can feel like baggage. So a metaphor that can work is to just take off that backpack of resistance and create new beliefs, new realities for ourselves, new ways of being with fear or with not enoughness, with any of those lowered states of overwhelm, you could say. So another resistance, I'm just going to keep bringing them here, okay? Another resistance is in our body. So have you ever just felt that sense that your body is sort of yelling at you? It could be through pain, it could be through a stomach upset, it could be in a headache, it could be a sense of tingles or like, you're just kind of going into a shock state. There could be shaking. So resistance can be the body's very strong, clear message. And often this kind of resistance is really important to listen to and talk to. So it's not something we're usually taught as kids to do, to talk to our body. But as we're on a more evolved healing journey and realizing we are this body as well as this mind and soul and divine essence within, we're also this body. So let's talk to it. Let's allow it to share with us. And when it's giving us a big resistance, like you're not going to go to work today because you've got a migraine, or you don't do anything to hurt yourself, but now you've got an injury. Talk to that part of your body. Let it imagine it having a mouth and a voice and sharing with you. Write down what it says, listen to it, hear it. This is really a very healing practice to do, and talk to it. Allow it to know who you are today, what you need, how you love the body, how you care and want to be friends together. So that would be the third resistance, the body. When the body says no really loudly, or when the body gives us odd experiences that are very worth understanding and getting to know. Another form of resistance is that mean inner critic, that mean inner voice that gives you a whole lot of reasons why not to do something, not to make new friends, not to do that project you want to work on, not to get that education, not to go on that date or that friend outing. All of those things that a critical voice might prevent you from, that another part of you really wants to do. So again, we can get to know that part of us that might be like a mean inner person that is also on some level trying to protect or guard or keep safe the whole person. So when we go, okay, well, this is a part of me, maybe not a part I like very much, but it's worth understanding where it's coming from, why it's telling me I'm not worthy of this, or why I can't do that, right? Similar to that fear, but it might come through more as a voice or a deep, persistent lack in some way. I just can't. Again, that resistance, that obstacle, get to know it. Now, the last one I want to bring today is fogginess, kind of blankness. Sometimes I would suggest, if that's happening, that kind of deep fogginess, it's really important to take care of yourself, to not push through, not try to clear the fog by understanding or insight, but instead to say, okay, I'm foggy. How do I accept this? What do I do to nurture myself? How do I ground and stabilize my energy, my essence? And sometimes what's very helpful to the fog, it's just like our weather. If there's a nice breeze, so sometimes it comes through movement in the body, like taking a walk, having a nice wonderful glass of water, or listening to some music, doing something that allows us to shift a bit, shift gears without pushing through, without trying to force that fog to clear, instead shifting perspectives. Just like on a hot day, a cool wind totally shifts your experience of the environment, or a beautiful rainfall. Have you ever been in the desert on a hot day, and I think of the mountains like in Colorado, and suddenly it rains and it's just like, wow, everything is different now. So that is a little bit what we need when we have that resistance of that fogginess. Take some deep breaths, go on a walk, drink a lovely tea or a cold glass of lemonade. Lemons are very zingy. They help us. So smelling something like mint, it's enlivening, and it's not pushing, it's not forcing the fog away. Instead, it's bringing in a new essence, a new quality. So I hope that this helps you to know that there are these different kinds of resistance, and there's probably more than just the 6 I mentioned. But today we discussed the resistance of fear, the resistance that's like an old friend, The resistance, that is that mean part of us, the resistance in our body, and the resistance that's a foggy unclearness. Oh, and there's number 6, the resistance that seems to come from other people or the outside world. So that's a very different yet real resistance also. And we can, when that resistance is meeting us, our technology doesn't work, our something's going on with other people in our life, we can stop and go, okay, what can I learn from this? What is part me and what is them? What is the outside world? And having that healthy discernment, that healthy boundary, knowing, okay, what in me is resisting here and what is the world for whatever reason offering me this resistance? What's the opportunity here? How do I learn? How do I stop? And how do I kind of pivot, look the other way, see what door has not yet opened, what door I'm even looking at? If one door is closed, we look for another door to open, or we look within for a chance just to be without opening or closing doors. I hope this helps. So, those are the 6 resistances that we talked about. And I look forward to the next time that we're together. And please give me a like. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I'll be posting every other day about here on YouTube. And I'd love to just get to know you. And I'd love to hear your comments about your kind of resistance and which resistance you want to work with first. It's good to prioritize. We all have one that's sort of jumping out to us when we hear about all 6. Take care.